Today on MTG Unpacked, it's time for something a little bit different. So we're taking a look at the D&D starter set. So this is for 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons. Apparently everything you need to start playing the world's greatest role-playing game. So I picked this up. I've actually been checking it out for a couple of years now, but have not taken the plunge until now. I thought with the release of the new Magic set, Dungeons and Dragons, this was a perfect time. So it looks like we get a bunch of dice, a couple of booklets, and also some pre-generated characters. And when you're ready for even more, you can pick up the Player's Handbook, Dungeon Master's Guide, and Monster Manual. So actually picked this up from my LGS for about 20 bucks US, and also got the Player's Handbook here. This thing is quite a tome. So this is a bit more than you would need to start off with, I think. This is more my speed. So let's check it out. So taking that out, alright, so we start off here. We have a bunch of different dice. So we've got D4s going all the way up to a D20. Okay, so that should come in handy. I've actually had a peek in here before this to figure out what's going on, but we have this Lost Mine and Fandelver book. This is more for the Dungeon Master. That's the person who's running the game. And we've got the starter set rulebook along with, let's get these out of here. So we've got a bunch of character sheets. So we'll run through these real quick. So they're pre-generated characters. So you can see all the different stats here, strength, dexterity, and so forth. And a whole bunch of other things here. A bit about personality traits and so forth for the character. So this one is a level 1 fighter. Okay, and then on the back we have a bit about humans and fighters, some background info for this particular character they've generated, and then gaining levels. So this box will actually take you up to level 5, and here's the experience points you need for each level. Okay, so we've got a fighter, a wizard, rogue, okay, and cleric, and another, looks like another fighter here. Okay, so that's the main classes. One point before I continue, I've not actually played the paper form before. I used to play a lot of the gold box Dungeons and Dragons games from the 80s, along with things like Eye of the Beholder. It's like a dungeon crawler. Baldur's Gate was awesome, spent hundreds of hours on that. So I've got a fairly good idea of what's involved, but then all the maths and stuff behind the scenes is contained within these books. So the developers do all that for you with the computer games. You don't need to worry about it. So let's take a look at the rulebook here. So this, I'm not going to go page by page, but this gives you a bit of a high-level overview, what it's all about, and then different things about the structure of play, ability checks, and so forth. And then we talk about combat. So combat is really, if you look at a Magic the Gathering game, that's really all about the combat. So imagine you have a combat sequence in Dungeons and Dragons is more like a game of Magic. So much shorter, and yeah, a lot more involved with D&D. We've got a thing here about adventuring forms of movement and different types of gear. So all your equipment, spell casting, spells, and yeah, spells at the back. Okay, so that is just a high-level overview of what it's all about. And so I wanted to figure out like what the gameplay experience was like. So it's more like collaborative storytelling. So rather than like endless combat, you have the Dungeon Master who is conveying the story through narration and giving the characters options like what you can do here, or he will tell them if something's working or not, rolling the dice, figuring out what happens next. So then that brings me to this. The Lost Mine of Foundelver is the adventure that's in this box. Supposed to be a low-level character thing from levels 1 to 5. So if you're the Dungeon Master, this is the thing you want to refer to. So this is giving you the real basics, how you run the adventure, and a bit about a background. And then here we have a nice colourful map of the world of this particular adventure. So this is in the Forgotten Realms, same setting as the new Magic set. Then we have a bit about, okay, so this is the adventure itself. It's divided into a number of parts. They have some narration that the Dungeon Master reads, and then it's telling you, okay, here's what the players should do at this point. Here are some of the characters they meet. So if you're the Dungeon Master, you're not only reading the narration, you're also acting as different NPCs. So maybe you want to be a goblin or something, or a innkeeper or whatever. So it's telling you about the different creatures you encounter here, other NPCs. And then this bit here, we have a map. So the Dungeon Master is not showing this to the players. This is a reference thing. If they are showing anything, maybe you're at step 1 here, this area, and you want to draw it on a piece of paper if they're having trouble visualizing it. But most of it, you don't need any miniatures or anything. You can just purely talking through it. You'll need some note paper to take notes and do some statistics and things. But other than that, this pretty much seems to be all you need. In addition to, so you'll notice there's a bunch of different parts here. I'm not going to go into that detail. But if we go near to the back of the book here, oops, spoilers, we don't want to reveal some of this stuff, especially if you're not the Dungeon Master. So we've got the conclusion. Okay, so in the appendix, we have some info about magic items, so all the different things they might come across. And then we have monsters. So this is a very cut down version. There's actually a whole monster manual. I think it has hundreds of different monsters, all the different stats for those. We've got different things about sizes and types and hit points and a whole bunch of stuff. So here, yeah, there's a bugbear. We've got a doppelganger. And what is this? An ogre. Yeah, a bunch of basic monsters there. So that will give you all the info you need to figure out like the hit points and things, how much it takes to kill for the different characters. So this actually looks pretty good if you're just getting started with Dungeons and Dragons. It will either do one of two things. I think it will either intrigue you or horrify you. I must admit I was a bit overwhelmed when I first opened this up and had a look through it, but I think it's a lot less overwhelming than if you got like a Dungeon Master's Guide or the Player's Guide. Those things are huge tomes. So definitely if you're a Magic player, it might be worth picking up. I would say from looking at all the different parts here, you probably got weeks or months of gameplay here, depending on how many sessions you have, if there's any side quests your characters are going on. I think it will take a lot to get used to, just for the Dungeon Master and the players, but definitely looks like it's worth picking up. They also have another one, the Essentials Kit, that goes into character creation, has a different adventure, and I think the books are a bit thicker than this, but I would say that's probably overwhelming. If you're starting from nothing like me, just playing Magic in the past, that doesn't really transfer over to D&D other than maybe some of the flavor stuff that you might come across. So leave a note in the comments. Have you checked out the starter kit? Would you recommend this for a new player? And I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button for more MTG and other content. and be sure to tap the notification bell to be notified as soon as new videos are released. So I'm glad I picked this up. I got a fair bit of reading ahead of me to see if this is something I want to pursue. Hope everyone's staying safe and healthy out there. Thanks for watching and have a great day.